bunch of losers! But in order to do that, you can say my name 3 times.
Welcome to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. We're the podcast that covers everything pop culture and beyond the multiverse. Are you ready to get your geek on? Crank up the DeLorean, warm up the proton packs, toss a coin to your Witcher, and deep dive into your favorite plate of chimichangas. This is PopXcast.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
I was born in it, molded by it.
PopXcast. The strings on me. Autobots, transform.
I'm Batman.
By the power of Grayskull. PopXcast.
We're doomed.
Goal here is Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny. Never had a pet pony. Hasta la vista, baby.
PopXcast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks.
Excelsior!
Oh man, Excelsior. We have to do every show with Stan Lee kicking us off with Excelsior. Dude, welcome to PopXcast, episode 122 on this May the 16th, 2021. And joining me here, we have the vast team assembled with our mighty rings combined. Oh wait, that's Captain Planet, I think, right?
It's all right.
Captain Planet.
He's our hero.
Gonna take pollution
Down
down.
to zero. All right, anyway, we're going off on tangent here. Oh my gosh, what the heck just happened? Oh my gosh, we have a jam-packed show ready for you guys tonight, and I know you guys are going to love it. It is so good. We have so much cool stuff to talk about. Oh my gosh. But before we do, how was your weekend, everybody? How's everybody doing on the PopX land?
It's been fantastic.
Fantastic. What about you, Austin? How are you feeling?
It's not good, folks. If you see me sprint out of here, we ate at
boy.
5 different restaurants over the weekend. We had some friends in town, and oh
Wow.
boy, don't know which one it was, but it was one of them.
Let's just say that your experience has become interactive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully you don't get to experience
For all
that.
donations of Preparation H wipes, please send to Austin Burke at FlickFanNation. Oh my gosh, dude.
If you're going to send me a super chat, just know that's what it's for.
That's
this
what it's
weekend.
for.
So that's
Oh my gosh, dude. That is amazing. That is so good, dude.
Feels good on the whole.
it feels good. on the
Feels real
whole.
good on the whole. Oh,
Sure does. doesn't it?
yeah. Anyway,
We're already getting off the rails. We just started, boys. Get it together.
I'm trying.
Bring it.
I'm
Bring it
trying.
home.
Are we good? I'm good now. Okay. All right, Austin, if you can, lead us off.
Lead us to victory. All
Lead
right.
us, lead us,
Welcome to
thank you.
PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture and Preparation H.
And
I'm Austin Burke, the Appalachian geek at heart. We'd like to welcome everyone joining us live in the PopX.live chat room. Come hang out with us and join the conversation at PopXcast.com. If this is your first time tuning into PopX, first 15 minutes or so, we like to run down the headlines since our last show, and we deep dive into all things nostalgic on the retro Rewind, and today's is going to be a really good one. And at the halfway point, we hit the show's topic, or in today's case, topics. We got some topics.
We've got some stuff floating about, and I'm Joseph Burke, Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast. Now, I want to let you guys know about a really cool community that's happening right now, and it's not the Creative Multiverse. You've heard us talk in past weeks about Creative Multiverse, but there's an amazing art community forming on a new streaming platform, Waka Waka. Get ready for this. It's called Happs.tv, HAPPS.tv. Now, the reason I'm letting you know about this specifically is that they are a really awesome collection of artists and creatives that are streaming their craft on this platform. So at any given point, you can watch, a painter paint or a 3D sculptor sculpt in 3D using the Oculus in virtual reality, or you can watch Lost TV and his host of amazing people draw daily art challenges and prompts and stuff. But it's just really cool. And shout out to Foamy Homie. How you doing, Foamy? We love you. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, and you want to understand what I'm talking about, you got to get an account. You got to set up Haps.tv. And I want to let you know, you can see Lindsay and myself live streaming over there throughout the week, Monday through Friday. Typically, we draw, we sketch, we hang out, we chat, we talk about what's going on in pop culture, and it's really cool. So come hang out with us over at Haps.tv.
That's right. Well, guys, I'm Lindsay Badger, your favorite geeky okie. If you missed our last episode number 121, we did break down all of the Mortal Kombat goodness of the new movie that just released, and we did a little retro rewind of one of my favorite movies, The Goonies. So make sure you go over to our official website, PopXcast.com, to watch that and all of the other great past shows from the PopX Collective archive. And if you like what you see tonight, please smash that like button. The thumbs up gives the algorithm all the good feels so everyone else that hasn't discovered us yet can find us. And make sure to throw us a subscribe on the YouTube channel. And as we figure out what our next shows are, we also schedule those as soon as we know. So make sure that you get that notification bell turned on so that you can know too. And we will be live. We'll let you know. And you can visit us on any of your favorite podcast platforms as well, because we are not just video. We are also doing podcasts. Give us those reviews, guys. Yeah. It helps us a lot.
And just to tag on what Lindsay said, if you subscribe to PopXcast and you click on the notification bell, you will probably know that PopX scheduled 2 brand new episodes today.
It's true.
We'll tell you about those too.
True, it happened.
It's true.
But all right, guys, let's get into the news this week. Don't go anywhere. PopX news coming your way.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
Lindsay Badger, you get the honors this week.
Gosh. I feel that woman in
I know.
all of her,
she's so frustrated.
Get out of here. All right, guys. Well, we're going to kick off the news this week with a little bit of Marvel goodness. The What If animated series will reportedly be coming this August, as the 2021 summer previews for the television and movies start to be released. We are getting all of this goodness. Given the current slate of Marvel Studios TV and movie projects, releasing What If in August makes a lot of sense. Loki will premiere on Disney Plus in June.
Yep.
And will run into the month of July. And then we're going to get Black Widow, finally. And that will act as a bridge, releasing in the theaters, and also Disney Plus will premiere an access service as well for that movie. After that, What If will give fans a late summer bump to keep them going until the Marvel movies burst back into the theaters, with Shang-Chi in September, Eternals in November, and Spider-Man No Way Home in December. They are going to be dishing it out month by month by month. So buckle in. We're going to cover all of this for you guys as it gets released.
That's insane, because if you think about the trajectory of everything that Marvel is doing right now,
weeks.
They have set up something almost every month to drop, leading up to Spider-Man No Way Home, and then just everything that's going on up until December. And actually, as a matter of fact, you have Loki dropping on June the 9th, which is Loki Wednesdays, if you know anything about your Disney Plus. Yeah.
Joe, I was not familiar with what the what if was.
Oh, yeah.
So can you guys give us a little nugget of just a short explanation of what to be expected with this animated series?
Absolutely. The What If series was created in the 80s by some of the original creators of Marvel, and it actually explores some of the storylines on what would have happened if our heroes or villains had actually done different things in alternate realities. There was one exclusively, I remember, what if Wolverine actually killed the Hulk? Or what if Gwen Stacy became Spider-Man? What would have happened if there was one really cool one with Captain America, like what if Captain America was Hydra or something like that? I can't remember what it was, but these crazy spin-off stories that it gives you a glimpse into what would have happened in these storylines. It's really cool because, I mean, even though none of these storylines are going to be plausible within the MCU, it actually gives us a glimpse into what could have been. And so I actually do own, I don't know why I'm saying the word actually a lot right now, but I do own a lot of actual comics.
Are we going to turn this into a drinking game?
We could. No, we're not going to do that. But it's really cool, though. The series is pretty awesome. If you can find some in your old boxes at your comic book shop, if you go to your comic book shop, sometimes in the back they will have a bin, and you go to the W section in the Marvel, and you can find a few what ifs, like maybe $1 or $2 for an issue. Find some ones that kind of appeal to you, and that give you a little bit of taste of what to expect on the What If series.
Nice. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yes, you should be. Austin Burke, what do you got for us?
Yes. Oh, and one more nice little tidbit is it will be Chadwick Boseman's final performance as technically Star-Lord in this universe, but technically it'll be his last performance as T'Challa. So I am very excited to see him one last time in this universe.
Before you continue on, Austin, I just wanted to say a huge shout out to Hari over in the chat room, who's joining us from India in real time right now. Yes. Hari, I don't want to say Prasath. Hari Prasath, thanks for joining the PopX crew.
Yes, that is awesome. That's awesome. So let's move into some CW news. They have ordered the revival of, wait for it, Legends of the Hidden Temple, the children's game show, so much nostalgia, that ran on Nickelodeon in the 1990s. The new series will put adults instead of children through their paces as they explore the temple. The new series will take the adventures out of the studio and onto the new jungle-themed set. The show will feature the usual teams: purple parrots, blue barracudas, orange iguanas. Man, this has been forever. Red jaguars, silver snakes, and green monkeys. Man, this is like, oh man, because I watched this so much growing up. I'm getting the feels. Participating in familiar challenges with difficulty scaled up for adult contestants. So activities returning in the revival include the moat, oh my God, the steps of knowledge, and listen to this, the Temple Run, my absolute favorite, and I played that app a lot on the iPhone a couple years ago. I'll make the game's stone-faced co-host will also return. D. Bradley Baker voiced the character in the original series. It's unclear if Baker will reprise his role. Inspired by the Indiana Jones movies and Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda games, Nickelodeon ran the original Legends of the Hidden Temple from 1993 through 1995. It remained a mainstay of the network for years. Oh my God, Joe, are you excited about this?
I'm not only excited about this, but there was a tweet that came out, I believe, yesterday for open call casting. And so I think it's legendscasting.com or something along those lines. You can go to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our friends Matt Roseboom over at Attractions Magazine posted an article about it on their Facebook and on, I believe, Twitter, the link. But search Legends Casting for the show, and hey, if you think you have the physical build and you could do some of these things, go for it. Do it.
Wow.
Yeah, so. This was one of those shows that they did at Orlando, right? Because at the end of the show or at the beginning of the show, they would be like, filmed in front of a live audience.
Yeah,
Live
yeah, yeah.
recorded. You know, and you had the big fountain and all.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
I am getting all of the feels. I think I've literally watched every single episode. It was only ran for like, what, 2 years? Is that 93 to 95? Yeah, I probably did. I know how to already assemble the golden monkey. Just give me the prize.
I'm telling you, too, it's so funny because we have a question over the chat room from Hari. She's like, Isaiah, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't know what this is. If you remember the Nickelodeon back in the day, back in the early, late 90s, early 90s, they had a show on there, the old Nickelodeon television shows. A lot of people may remember Double. And this may have never aired in your country. Double Family. Mark Summers. Can we just give a shout out to Mark Summers?
Summers.
Anyway,
Like
hi, Mark Summers. We love you. We should get Mark Summers on PopXcast and interview him.
Oh my gosh.
I would totally nail that because Mark Summers is literally my childhood. Anyway, we're totally rabbit holing right now. But I do want to let you know it is a really fun part of our childhood here, especially here in the Americas and in North America. It aired in Canada and parts of Mexico as well. All right, so moving on with the news, Netflix has debuted the first look of the Masters of the Universe Revelation original animated series. Just look at that still right there. Now, following in the footsteps into the series such as Castlevania, Blood of Zeus, and Seis Manos, Masters of the Universe Revelation will be showing off a much different version of the He-Man mythos than fans might have ever expected. And making things more enticing is the fact that Kevin Smith serves as a showrunner for this big update. That's right. He wrote he wrote, I think, if I'm not mistaken, every episode. And every episode had its own director-type situation overlooking it. So that's interesting about Kevin Smith. Now, the series will be July 23rd. It'll be dropping on Netflix on July 23rd. The series is officially described such as The War of Eternia culminates in the Masters of the Universe Revelation, an innovative and action-packed animated series that picks up where the iconic characters left off decades ago in the original series. Holy cow, they're picking right up where it left off. That's insane. And after decades of secrets tore them apart, it's up to Tila to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve the mystery of the missing sword of power in a race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
My goodness.
Joe's geeking out over here.
Nerdgasm. Sorry. One, we have Kevin Smith, who's already a nerd. He knows the heart of a true pop culture fan.
He's going to put the right stuff.
Oh, dude. I'm truly freaking excited for this. Now, I am a part of a Masters of the Universe group on Facebook, and there's some like, I don't like the art. It doesn't look like the 80s. Okay, we're in 2021. We don't draw like we're, we don't draw like we're in 1983. I'm sorry. But just get with the program, people, okay? I'm excited for this. I can't wait. July 23rd can't come any sooner. How do you guys feel about Masters of the Universe Revelations coming to Netflix? Let me know in the chat. I'll read your guys' comments here in the chat. But I'm
kind of meh. I never was a huge He-Man Masters of the Universe fan, so I'll let you guys geek out over that. I have my own personal geeky out things.
Can I take a guess? Can I take a guess at Lindsay's geek? Don't answer. Strawberry Shortcake. My Little Pony.
Show is lit.
Care Bears. Yeah.
Oh.
Third time's a charm.
Care Bears and Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright.
Those were my jam.
Okay.
Those were my jam.
Well, I mean, a lady is not going to watch a half-naked barbarian pummel through some kind of prehistoric.
I'll tell you what. Just looking at those stills that Mike's been putting on screen, I think this looks awesome. I do.
Fantastic.
I think it looks awesome. And like you said, that name, Kevin Smith, just knowing these characters inside and out, I never thought we would see a continuation this much later. I mean, we're so removed from the show, but now longtime fans get to see where it goes. Joe, we're going to
we're doing an episode on it, bro.
I love that they're reintroducing it to a new generation, so they get to learn the origins and the
Yes.
I know it's a continuation of the story, but to get to know the characters and fall in love with them, just like you guys did.
Indeed.
I
Lindsay,
agree.
you have the last one of the week.
All
my dear.
right. Ooh, and it's a good one.
It's a
too.
good one too, yeah.
Venom. Venom. Anyway, you guys didn't miss seeing the trailer, did you? I'm sure Austin probably tore it down, dissected it, and pieced it back together with Scotch tape because he is just that good. The first trailer for the new Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage, has finally debuted, giving fans their first look at Tom Hardy's return as Eddie Brock, as well as the iconic Spider-Man villain known as Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson.
Man.
The sequel to Sony's 2018 surprise hit is set to arrive in theaters in September, despite numerous delays to studio's other Spider-Man offshoot, Morbius. Venom, Let There Be Carnage is still on track for its opening day. Sony had tapped actor-director Andy Serkis to helm the sequel, which would take advantage of his expertise as he has more than enough experience with motion capture technology to take on the Venom franchise. Fans are excited to see Hardy bind the symbiote once again, following the massive box office outing last time around. However, when the sequel finally arrives, all eyes will be on Harrelson's Carnage, one of the most popular Spider-Man villains in franchise history. Guys, I didn't know how much I was going to love Venom until I saw Venom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit more excited about the second movie than I was the first movie, just because I have fallen in love with the sarcasm and the snarkiness. And I mean, it's gritty, it's gross, but it's so good.
Yeah. Oh,
so I can't wait to see how this one comes out.
See, I think Venom, when the trailer dropped, I think it was last week, is when the official trailer 2, I believe, had dropped, and it's the one where you've got Eddie Brock sitting down and Venom's trying to create him breakfast. I mean, we're not really spoiling anything. It's a trailer. It's on YouTube. You can find it. But, dude, I cracked up so hard. He's like, ta-da!
It was so fun.
I'm like, oh my God.
Is what sells this whole franchise. It's fantastic.
It is. It kind of has that Thor Ragnarok vibe with the satirical comedy.
A Ragnarok or like a Deadpool, kind of
like a Deadpool, yeah.
Campy. It's in that camp of comedy, and I just really
but
love it.
I think that Woody Harrelson's character is going to literally be. He's going to be epic to epic proportions, because I think Carnage is even more popular in the MCU realm than his, well, not MCU, the actual Marvel comic universe. The books themselves specifically is more popular than Venom, more popular than Eddie Brock, because everybody wants to know about Cassidy, and it's from, spoiler alert, if you've not read your books, from the blood of Carnage spawned 4 other symbiotes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all kinds of like symbiote craziness going on there. So I'm excited for part 2, honestly. And have they now, Austin, you may know about this. Have they got any news on Morbius, when Morbius is coming out?
I believe last I heard, I think it's early next year. It's moved so many times.
Yeah,
I think it's early next year. The thing that has me most excited, so I didn't love the first movie. I loved more so Tom Hardy and Venom the character than the movie, but I am really excited about this film. The whole movie, and I hate to say this, whole movie, I'm going to be looking into what universe this is in, because I don't know if you guys noticed this. In the trailer, on the newspaper, the Daily Bugle logo was the exact same one from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies.
Get the heck out of here.
Not Tom Holland's movies, Sam Raimi's
Go back and look now.
Spider-Man movies. So the ongoing theory is that when Doc Ock gets pulled into Spider-Man No Way Home after he quote-unquote dies, that's going to reset the entire universe. So Spider-Man 3 never exists. This follows up Spider-Man 3, and this Venom is now part of Tobey Maguire's universe. That's the theory, all going off that logo.
I told you guys he took this trailer, he tore it down, and pieced it back together with Scotch tape. I was not
I'm so
joking.
glad I asked you that question. Holy cow, dude.
And then if you go to the Morbius trailer, now it's odd because Michael Keaton's in the Morbius trailer,
Yes.
but also some of the graffiti on the wall at a point. The Spider-Man outfit does not look like Tom Holland's outfit. It looks like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So everything's like meshed and mixed, and with all the rumors of Tobey and Andrew Garfield, we're all just kind of like, what's going on?
So,
No time right now. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we're in for one heck of a ride. I do know that much. Holy cow. Well, guys, it is 9:25, and we are about to hit the retro rewind. Strap in, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a crazy one this week. We have none other than Beetlejuice coming up for you right now on the retro rewind. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind.
Oh my gosh, retro rewind. I was just reading the chats as that was playing. Like, it's going to make my head explode. The multiverse. It's going to make all of our heads explode. But what else is going to make your head explode? Well, I'm the ghost with the most, babe. You know, so we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice. Oh my gosh, this is 1988 classic coming to you right here. This is probably one of my favorite Tim Burton films ever. Ever. I mean, this would be ranked in my top 3 Tim Burton films, if not my number 1. And I rewatch. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched this movie and just loved every bit of it. Yes, it's quirky. Yes, it's crazy. Yes, the story is just convoluted and just a hot mess of just craziness. But so is the afterlife. And I think Tim Burton's vision of what he's taking the afterlife and creating this entire world. And I just love it. It's creative. It's artistic. It's expressive. And at the helm of it, we have Beetlejuice as the main front runner here. The Maitland, yes.
You know,
I just love doing the Beetlejuice voice.
There was one thing that I noticed in this movie that I didn't ever notice before, is that I always thought that he said the Maitlands.
Yeah.
And it's Waitlands.
The Waitland.
Okay, it says it in the obituary in the paper that he's reading.
Really?
I always thought it was the Maitlands with an M,
Interesting.
but it's actually a W. I was like, how long has it been that way?
I wonder if that was an error. I wonder if they were called, if they changed Maitland's like mid-production.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a little nugget for you guys. We can sort that out later.
Oh my God, it's a nerd nugget.
Yeah.
Throwback.
So, you know, this movie is just really crazy, and it's a crazy ride into the mind of Tim Burton. Artistically, directorial, everything is just crazy. And you can kind of see Tim Burton express his artistic... Well, this movie is 88. Guess what came out in 89?
Batman.
Yeah.
Which I believe that is my number 1 in Tim Burton, and Beetlejuice is right behind it, number 2 on my tier list. And so you can see the creative love that when Tim Burton saw what Michael Keaton could do, he's like, oh my God, you're my Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. And so I want to get Austin's perspective, the film critic's perspective on this 88 classic here, Beetlejuice.
I was so happy we chose this movie because this is one that surprisingly enough, I grew up with this movie, I think more so than any of the Burton films, even more so than Batman. This is one that Mom loved, so she would have it. I mean, she loves this movie. She would have it on loop. And, you know, watching it growing up, I'm like, it's crazy, it's wild, it's wacky. I don't know if I'm going to like it when I'm older. I get older, I watch it, then I go back and watch it last night. It was super late last night. I got back home, I'm like, all right, I'm going to revisit Beetlejuice for the first time in a while. Let's see how this goes. It's just as good as I remember. I actually think it's better than I remember. This movie is insane. It's so insane. It's kooky. It's weird. But Michael Keaton's performance is genuinely like, I think it's awards worthy because it's so ridiculous. You don't think this guy at this point, right? I know at the time, you know, he was hardcore in the comedy realm, but when you see Michael Keaton now, he's taking on all these Oscar roles. He's in Spotlight. He's, you know, in the McDonald's movie, like all these different things. And then you go back and revisit this. It's like, this might be one of his best performances. And I think this movie rides on his shoulders. Now, don't get me wrong. Unrecognizable Alec Baldwin is great. He looks nothing like he looks now.
No.
Gina Davis is great. Winona Ryder is fantastic, and her chemistry, or lack thereof at times, with Beetlejuice is awesome. But it's Tim Burton's style. And, Tim Burton, as of late, hasn't really done it for me. But this was his prime, right?
Yes.
The 80s, 90s, that realm, the world that he lived in and fit so perfectly in. And I just don't think he's been able to recapture this kind of magic ever since this period of time when he was doing these movies. And this, I'm with Joe, this may be one of my favorites. And I was more engaged with this film than I think most of the movies I've watched this year. Like new awards-worthy releases, just because I had such a great time watching it, man. I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
Well, it's been rumored, and I'm going to go to Lindsay next, but it's been rumored that Michael Keaton wants to come back and do another version of this. And I think that would be fantastic. If Winona Ryder's on board, I'm on board as well. I mean,
yes,
we need more of this. This is such an awesome film. And yes, some of the effects, you can see that some of the green screen effects is not, it's 88. Come on.
Of course.
But at the same time, my gosh, there had never been artistically a film shot like this ever. You just think about some of the artistic direction of Tim Burton, like specifically when the guy comes out and marries Beetlejuice and Winona Ryder's character, and just the archway, everything has that Tim Burton stamp on it. It's just gorgeous. Now, Lindsay, what did you think about this classic?
It's always been a favorite. Ever since it came out. I mean, my parents did the monthly free HBO.
Yep.
You record all the stuff on the VHS tape. This is one of those movies that I grew up watching on repeat over and over and over again. And so I thoroughly look forward to October every year because you get to watch it again and again every year, because it has now been considered a classic Halloween movie. Every season you get to watch it on your 31 days of October.
31 Days of Halloween.
And my kids the other day, I was sitting in the living room watching it, and they're like, "Yay, family movie!" And I was like, "Yeah, we're watching Beetlejuice." "Why are we watching a Halloween movie?" I was like, "Because it's freaking awesome. Sit down and shut up." So I may stuff it down my kids' throats, but hopefully when they grow up, they appreciate it, because Tim Burton is a genius. He is an artist that should be honored and appreciated for everything that he's contributed to not only my childhood, but to the industry of art in general. All of the actors are still acting to this day.
Oh, yeah.
And performing in fantastic roles, which is kind of cool to see and look back. The story is kooky as all get out, but it's a very solidly written story, so it's easy to follow. You can fall in love with the characters, and you actually connect emotionally with them whenever they're like the bride and groom are crumbling and dying. You're like, no, save them, and, all this other stuff. And then there's the goofiness that goes along with it that doesn't make it super scary. So it's good to enjoy as a family during Halloween to get a little bit of a spooky feel without getting, nightmares in the process. So, I mean, it's an overall enjoyable thing. It has classic one-liners throughout the whole movie, which are fantastic. It's just a great, great time. And I mean, the dinner scene literally is the best part, I think, of the entire movie, where they're doing the dance and it's so good. There's what do you guys have a favorite bit from the movies?
Well, from the movie itself? The dance scene, first and foremost, obviously, is definitely at the top tier for me. But the opening part when they actually visit the waiting room, and you've got all the decapitated people and the smoker guy, and his legs are shaking. And he's like, "Hey, you want to smoke?" And I just love each character has his own unique plot and how he got to the afterlife. It's so freaking crazy.
I love the receptionist. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have done this.
If I would have done this. But I want to get to Mike Ippolito now, my fellow, another 80s kid down here in the bottom. Mike, Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, what do you think?
This is right up there with your Ghostbusters and Back to the Future films. I mean, this is just definitely a classic. I mean, the twist that Burton puts on, the afterlife is just unbelievable. And and for me, this I couldn't foresee a sequel to this movie. I think it's one of those movies that it's just a standalone by itself. I mean, I couldn't, I don't know, I'm afraid it wouldn't just be done right. I know Tim Burton if he would come back and do it, but the way his movies are now, like the last one, like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that was just way out there, bizarre.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. I just couldn't get a feel for it. But anyway, but the way he made this movie, I think it would just be perfect on its own as a standalone, and he can't beat the cast. You know, it's just it's a phenomenal movie. These are one of those that the rewatchability on this is just, you know, it's a timeless movie.
Yeah.
Just watch it anytime it's on TV, and it's definitely worth the 4K purchase. That's for sure.
You've got this in 4K?
No, I don't. I know it's available on 4K.
Oh, I have not seen this in 4K. Holy cow. I couldn't imagine how good that would look. Jeez.
Well, and they did the spin-off animated series. Did that not tell the rest of the story that needed to be told? Why do we need to revisit with a sequel? That would be my question. What story is left to be told after that?
Well, I think, you know, if you deal with the Maitlands, I think maybe Beetlejuice will go into another family.
Yeah.
You know, I think that instead of the Maitlands, he'll find his way into the cracks of some other family that just died. And so the hijinks continues using actors of today, probably. Do you guys hear something in the background?
Hello?
Wait, I hear something in the background. Sorry, I had to do that. I'm probably going to get tagged for that. I'm probably going to get tagged on YouTube for that, but I don't give a dang.
You're going to start dancing?
All right, so anyway.
What
All
if
right,
we
so
all
this
just
movie,
started-
as you could tell, just by our laughs, our smiles, and just how much we love this movie, it is amazing. And for me, this was one of the movies when I saw as a kid, 88, I was probably maybe just going on 9 when this came out. And so for me, I had never seen a movie with this kind of artistic direction where you got sandworms and just the colors of purple, black, and pinks and just this palette that was in here. It blew my mind, dude. It did. And so we're going to give our official review of Beetlejuice, and then I got a Beetlejuice nugget to share. Actually, let me go ahead and share it now, then we'll give our review. This coming year in Hollywood and Orlando, at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Resort, you are going to get to experience Beetlejuice in all of its glory. That's right. So if you are blessed to live in Orlando, near Orlando, or are vacationing in Orlando between September, October, and the first week of November, you are going to actually get to experience Beetlejuice and a house that is dedicated to Beetlejuice using Universal Studios' own back lots, their own warehouses and film studios, sound stages. It's going to be crazy, the detail.
Watch out for the sandworms.
And we're here for your daughter, Chuck. But it's just so amazing. I love doing Michael Keaton's voice. I love doing that. I could do that all day long.
You do it well. I really...
I'm the ghost with the bows, babe. But all right, so review. So remember that. Orlando, Halloween Horror Nights, Beetlejuice. Come and experience the craziness. September the 3rd, October the 30th. It's going to be awesome. And so my official review of this is going to be, holy cow, I want to give this a solid 8.5. I have to give this a solid 8.5. It's up there with me.
Oh, yes.
Austin?
What year did this come out?
88.
That's my score.
Are you serious?
Yep, 88. That's the score, man. It's just what a magical movie. And again, with these retro rewinds, I'm so glad we get to go back and revisit these movies, man. What a blast that was.
Yes, it's good. Lindsay Badger.
9.2.
Heck yeah, girl. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Mike in Atlanta, what's up? What's your score there, buddy?
With a 9.5. I love this movie.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, brother.
Fantastic.
Man, look at that.
Think about it. Tim Burton was new on the scene. This was completely out of the box for anybody to do all this stuff. And, there is even a little bit of claymation in there.
There's a little claymation. There is with the sandworms. But I believe he got his debut in 85 with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right? Mm-hmm. That was his first film.
I think it was.
And then he did a short movie called Frankenweenie. And then I believe this is not too far from one of his second or third productions leading up to Batman in 89, which was the culmination of just everything of Tim Burton.
This movie really brings in his color palette and his wheelhouse, where Pee-wee is Pee-wee.
All right, guys, we are at 9:40. We're going to be we got about another. Well, we got a little ways to go. So stick around. We're going to roll the spoiler alert warning for Invincible and Jupiter's Legacy. Now, if you've not seen either of these series on Amazon Prime or Netflix, please hit the pause button, because we don't want to be responsible for spoiling something that you're watching currently. But we're going to be doing Jupiter's Legacy first, followed up by Invincible. We'll be right back.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
You have been warned, ladies and gentlemen, and we are talking Jupiter's Legacy right here on PopXcast right now. Brand new series coming out of Netflix. It's kind of a series, I got to be honest with you, I didn't really know that this series was coming out on Netflix until probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And I'm like, what is this series? What's going on here? So I didn't really know what to expect. It is 8 episodes, and it's a culmination of how a superhero got his power, essentially, basically, theoretically. But it's following Mark Millar, who we all know. If you don't know Mark Millar is an indie comic book artist. He's right up there with Alan Moore and a lot of these guys that write some of these movies and series that we're watching right now on some of the famous streaming platforms. But Mark Millar has this whole Millarverse of characters that he has created, and this is the first initial thumbprint of one of his creations in a live-action drama. And so it's an introductory, if you will, into the Millarverse. And so for me, it was great. I enjoyed a lot of the action sequences. For me, a lot of the dialogue kind of fell flat. I found myself kind of opening up my phone unconsciously and kind of thumbing through Twitter on a couple of the dialogue scenes. There wasn't a lot of meat that held me there, but overall, I do feel that the lead in this was definitely probably this Superman-esque type character who echoes back to Omni-Man. He was called the Utopian here. Omni-Man, Utopian, Superman, they're all essentially the same. But I enjoyed his story and how he became the Utopian, and how the dynamic in which his family is living in the shadow of this figure that has been dominating for the past century on Earth. And we get to see the pieces and the repercussions of that, especially with his son and daughter. And his daughter is definitely, addicted to a lot of crazy stuff, and she's doing some things that's not necessarily kosher.
Damaged.
And yeah, exactly. And then the son goes off and kills somebody, which breaks the code of the family, and it's just a lot of drama, and there's a lot of this stuff. But woven into the middle of this is the utopian story of actually how he got his powers. Jupiter's Legacy is essentially where they had to go to one of the moons of Jupiter to get their powers. And so, Austin, what did you think about the series as a whole?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit messy. I really enjoyed certain elements. I think for me, it's a series that has a lot of potential. That's the word I'm going to use. I think we could really expand upon the great things in season 2 and maybe forget about some of the not so great things. I compare a few of these storylines. Do you remember in Stranger Things when they went off in that random episode and started exploring
the Chicago episode, right?
Yes. Okay, so I feel like there were like 3 or 4 Chicago episodes in Jupiter's Legacy. I just didn't seriously. I just didn't care.
You're
right?
1,000% correct on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was very underwhelmed with where that storyline was going, and this storyline. I didn't care as much about Chloe. I didn't care as much about the drama. I liked the father-son aspect of it all, but then we would get into some of these supposedly dramatic points, and it would just kind of go off the rails. I'm like, can we just go back to what's making this show, or what could make this show great? And that is Josh Duhamel and the Utopian, and kind of, and even the flashback scenes I thought were really interesting. Everything there really, really worked for me. And I made a comparison. Do you remember Disney's Sky High? Do you guys remember that movie?
Vaguely, yes.
I do.
Okay, so I love that movie, right? For what it was, right? It was silly, it was cheesy, but the action scenes in this show reminded me of a bloody Sky High. And I think
Okay.
that's really cool. It's different. It's, a little bit cheesy, but it's got that nice superhero graphic novel feel to it. And I thought that was fun, right?
Right.
But when you start diving into some of these subplots, that's where the show, I believe, starts to fall apart a little bit. Again, I still am going to say I enjoyed it as a whole, but it's definitely one that I'm going to nitpick at the end of the day because there's a lot of story flaws in there.
There's a lot of story flaws, and I found myself, like I said, there was you kind of really said it in the best way possible. Those moments that it felt like the Stranger Things. There's 4 of those in this series.
Yeah.
That was those moments where I just kind of found I was kind of just zoning out and browsing my phone and just kind of looking on Facebook or Instagram or just kind of swiping down. I'm like, it didn't. What I'm saying. It didn't. There wasn't enough in the story to capture me. Now, when it got to the fighting moments and the elements of the story themselves, I think the weakness of this, and they haven't found a rhythm because this kind of storyline has never been done before, specifically in a live action format. They're trying to focus more on the family aspect of Jupiter's Legacy, and they're trying to find their footing in how to do that. Now, you throw in those flashback scenes, and you do. I enjoy the flashback scenes. Honestly, with season 1, I think the whole season 1, all 8 episodes should have been the flashback, how the band got united. And then in season 2, we work up to present day, where they are now. I think it would have flowed a little better, Mm-hmm. Maybe? I don't. Lindsay? Yeah. Lindsay, what do you think?
I feel like watching this was like watching a person with ADHD try to tell a story.
Yeah.
I was really engaged with the first storyline because they did a really good job introducing the father and the children and their relationship issue because, God forbid we have a superhero father that loves his children. Anyway, so I was really vibing with that. And then they were like, you know what? We're just going to put a pin in that. And then we're going to go to the 1930s for a while.
Yeah.
And deal with his psychological trauma of his father committing suicide. And we're just going to stick on that for 500 episodes. And then we're going to circle back to the junkie out daughter. Yeah. And there's like a massive time jump between she being a little girl and her being a cracked out model. And no explanation as to why that got her to that point. It's like, why is she even there?
Yeah.
Can you just put her, just
a
save
filler
her
character, essentially.
Save her for season 2, if God forbid there is a season 2. Lord, I don't even want to see season 2 at this point. Anyway, so I mean, it was just so all over the place. Why would I want to continue that pattern of behavior? Honestly, it loses my engagement and focus because there is so much going on. I really enjoyed the 1930s story.
I did.
And the origin of all the characters and how they came to be and the explanation as to why he was engaged to a person and left because of his mental issues, and how he hooked up with what's her name, Grace. How they got together was not explained, but they're married and have kids now, so it's like whatever. There's an aging thing going on that wasn't explained. The whole why did you go to another planet thing wasn't explained. I mean, it was all very mysterious and not very, the loose ends obviously are not all going to be tied up, but you need to at least finish one storyline before you start jumping into another storyline, because you've got to have
convoluted.
You have to give some sort of satisfaction to get your viewers to continue to want to watch it.
And see, your review is brutally honest, and that's what I like about it, because you actually are echoing a lot of the weaknesses and flaws that
I'm glad
we experience.
To hear what you boys had to say, because I was afraid I was going to be the big Debbie Downer again this week, like a third time.
It has potential to be something great.
A couple of positives. I love the music.
Yeah.
Okay. I love a lot of the visuals are really good. There's some special effects stuff and the fighting scenes I had issues with, but overall it was pretty okay. The cinematography was really nice, in my opinion. The aging up effects I didn't like so much. I could get over it, but it was needing some work.
Yeah.
But overall, it was just lackluster for me.
Let's see, Mike. Did you get a chance to watch Jupiter's Legacy any at all? And if so, what's your thoughts?
I have to kind of back up before what you said about you didn't know about this till you hear it on Netflix. I didn't know about this until I knew we were doing a show about it. I didn't know anything about this.
Same.
Wow.
You know what? This show, it was like all over the place, and I found myself kind of like drifting away and losing interest in a hurry, and I had to kind of rewind things because I just couldn't figure out what was going on. And the longer it went on after each episode, the longer the flashbacks were getting. It was like 15 minutes of flashback and 30 seconds of the present day, and I'm going, either do one or the other.
Thank you.
And they just kept cramming more and more in there. And I can't remember the villain that had his head smashed in.
Battle Star or something?
Yeah, something like that. And
Black Star. Black Star.
Yeah, Black Star.
It just was like they drug that throughout all the episodes, and then to get into his head, and that took 8 episodes to get to that point. And the flashbacks just drowned this show. I mean, the later it got on, the worse it was getting, and I was just going, and I was just like, I was watching him going.
See, Mike, that's exactly me, because I was zoning out. I was like, you hear some of this blah 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 yada dialogue in the background that doesn't really pertain to any of the narrative going forward, and I'm just like,
oh. I mean, I knew eventually they were getting to the island because they were leading up to that. I'm going, well, it's coming, but it was just like the whole flashback
there already.
Episode, and I'm going, okay, and then they just like rushed it through the end, to get where they ended up on the planet. I'm going, it's like, okay,
you're literally, you said more than 30 seconds than all 4 of us combined. To be honest with you, I mean, it was just I echo everything you said, and I kind of feel. Now, this is just me, and you could take I'm not a cinematographer or a director or a producer or anything in that said, but I feel I've seen enough of these shows to know what the hell I'm talking about. If they would have done season 1 in the 20s, 30s era and focused on that, and then at the end of that season, cliffhanger into maybe show the aged into the modern day, that would have been great. And maybe end it on that big Black Star battle, and then leave it on the cliffhanger with him killing and bashing his head. What's going to wouldn't that have not been directionally better than the back and forth narrative?
That sliver it up and slice it through all the episodes. That was just
it's too much, man. It's chop suey.
That's the big problem with this show. It's very simple. It's the editing.
Yeah,
it's the editing. That's what it is. You're telling this story completely out of order, and you're chopping it up in a way to where if you were to lay it out differently, I believe there would be a cohesive story in there. Maybe just get rid of the daughter storyline, because I just didn't like that storyline at all. Right? Because it's so formulaic, it's so repetitive. The reason that I am semi-excited for season 2 is because here's what I hope they do. And sometimes this doesn't happen. I hope they see the flaws and they see the negativity when it comes to all of the criticism for what they did. And a lot of it has to do with the editing. I hope they see the flaws and expand upon the stories that we care about.
Yeah.
Because there are some stories in there that I believe are really good. I'm afraid that they're just going to keep doing what they do. And if that's the case, then I'll fall off by season 3.
I think, I echo what you say, Austin. And I think I want to allow us some time for Invincible as well. So let's just go ahead and give our review. I'll go first. I'm going to go with a 6.0 on this. And the only reason I was going to go for a 5.5, but the only reason I liked it was the storyline itself has potential of the family aspect. There is potential there because we've never seen that before. And there are some elements from the comic book that did translate over into the show. But if you've read Jupiter's Legacy from the comics, there's a lot of stuff there that they kind of left out.
It's very different.
And so that kind of was like, okay. Anyway, I digress. But I'm going to go with a 6.0 because the only reason I went that high is just I'm optimistic for what season 2 can bring. So I'm just giving it some hope.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go 6 as well. I think that's a reasonable score for something that I think has a lot of potential, and I'm not going to fall off after season 1 because I'm curious to see what they do now. If I see the same mistakes I mean, I've got to watch it regardless because I got to review it. But if I see the same mistakes in season 2, then I will have no hope for a season 3. You've got to course correct at this point because we've seen shows before with me. I mean, The Office had a mediocre first season it course corrected in season 2. So I am going to hold out and see what happens in season 2. But if they don't fix these problems, we're in trouble.
Well, if they don't fix these problems, then we're not going to be reviewing season 2. I can just tell you that much right now. Lindsay Badger.
Oh, boys, you are just too generous. I thought I was being generous with my 4.2. I feel like with a show that's supposed to be at this quality, and Netflix is known for doing really good stuff, that in enough executives and people through the process have to review it and they okayed it, 4.2 is generous in my opinion.
Mike,
get out of here.
You got it, girl.
Go with the 5. I'm hope, like Austin says, hope there's some potential in season 2. I'm one for redemption. Hopefully they I'll give it a fair shot, and right after, if I see the same thing going into 2, I'm just done. I just hope that this is not Netflix's answer to The Boys, because challenge Amazon, because they're way up.
Yeah.
And Netflix's answer to The Boys. That's a tweetable line.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So Jupiter's Legacy final 6 and 6, 4.2 and a 5 from Team PopX. So you have heard it. Now we're going to transition over to Invincible, where we're going to spend the remainder of the show. My gosh, we're almost coming up to the top of the hour. We're kind of pushing it. But guess what? Hang in there 10 more minutes. We got you. So Invincible. Oh my gosh. This show. You know what? I'm going to let Austin take the front run on this one. I'm going to stop talking. Austin, open it up on Invincible. What do you think?
Oh boy. I mean, you're just a complete 180 here, right? From Jupiter's Legacy to Invincible.
That's why I wanted to talk about Jupiter's Legacy first.
Oh, I mean, this show, guys, this show is absolutely wild. Everything I wanted in an animated show that, at first I'm thinking like, oh, Justice League. It reminds me of the animated Justice League series. In the first episode, we're introducing this superhero and this team, and it's kind of like this coming-of-age story. And he's Peter Parker. He's learning how to use his powers, and holy mother. Holy mother.
What happened?
God, what's going on? And then I remember, this is rated R, isn't it? It's a hard R, it just keeps.
No, it's MA, I believe.
It might, but it's more brutal and more violent than I believe even what The Boys season 1 was, and I love that for that, right? So
let's
keep
just talk
getting
the subway scene.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, and it's got to be one of the most intense things I've ever watched in my life. But this show progressively got better. It progressively got more intense. Only complaint I have is maybe 1 or 2 storylines I didn't care about. I didn't care about his relationship that much. I wish he would have got with the other girl, to be honest. Yeah. And I think there were some things that they could have improved on when it comes to subplots. But other than that, I think this is the perfect animated superhero show, because the arcs of both Invincible and Omni-Man are so good, so fleshed out, and there's this suspense and intensity that builds and builds and builds, and there is not a lack of payoff in the final episode. The final episode gives you everything you want and more,
then some.
And it sets up for a season 2, and it's just brilliantly constructed, and the art style, the animation, both of those things are gorgeous. I have no bad things.
I don't either. I'm freaking going to be knocking this review out of the park. Lindsay Badger. Before I'm going to save my review for the last. Linz, what's up?
Okay, boys. I didn't know what you guys were throwing at me this week, because I didn't recognize or see either of these things coming at me. So I was like, what in the world are we doing this week? This was a significantly better series.
Heck yeah.
If we're comparing just the 2 that we have to do this week.
Oh yeah.
First impression was, Justice League. I was like, this is like the Justice League from Wish.com. It's like we have Wonder Woman, we have Superman, and who is that voice? Doesn't he hate Spider-Man? Why is he Superman?
Spider-Man.
Oh my God. J.K. Simmons is on the Simmons. And we have his son, basically the Wish.com of Spider-Man. It was really awkward for me to get over
but
that.
Did you know that's Glenn from Walking Dead? That's Stephen Yeun.
Yeah.
So I actually I had to pause the first episode and go look up these actors, because I was like, this is messing with my brain really hard. So anyways, we have a lot of carnage, a lot of blood, and a lot of episodes for a mama to watch without the children around. And mama, what you watching? Because it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
It's like, not for your eyes. Not for your eyes.
Nope.
Please don't show this to your children until they're like 18.
Yes.
Seriously, not a joke.
Disclaimer.
Anyway,
you heard it from the mom.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I was kind of cringy at it at first because it was so tropey out the gate. And then it kind of grows on you a little bit. And then there's a whole lot of WTF.
Yeah. Especially the end of episode 1.
WTF. As you progress through, the WTF grows even more. And then it's like, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
It gets very, very ugly at the end. And it's like beating after beating after beating. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit repetitious. And then he turns like super evil.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, that's pretty jacked up. Yeah.
When does season 2 come out? Because this is messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up good. It's like it's unlike anything we've ever seen.
Hate it. I did not hate it. I thought I was going to because I was like, God, what is Joe making me watch here? You know. But then I was like, okay, I'm getting on board with it. It took me. It was a slow like.
It's a slow burn. Yeah, I get that. Mike Ippolito, what did you think of Invincible?
5 minutes into it, and all I could say is, J. Jonah Jameson, Superman, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
This was a great show. I didn't expect it to be this good, and like Austin said, you got the payoff at the end. And, I mean, I love all these characters, even the villains. I mean, the voice cast you got in this show is just amazing. You know, I mean, you recognize the voice initially, and then you're not sure who it is. Then when you look up, you go, wow, I can't believe they're part of this show. But I definitely enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to what the next 2 seasons bring, because I know they've signed for the next 2 seasons or set up.
Yeah, the success of this season alone, single-handedly. Mike, was there an episode that just stood out to you?
Probably just with the subway scene. That
I was hoping you'd say that, dude.
Yeah, it's just we're in that hospital, and I mean they're all basically in pieces.
Oh my God,
like the robot.
dude.
The robot was very good.
You could just see the meat and the grain of the muscle in the animation. It was just what? Omni-Man, what?
Yeah.
So crazy. Well, guys, if you didn't know this is from the mind of Robert Kirkman.
Oh yeah.
The mind that brought you The Walking Dead. So let's just put that into perspective. And this is Robert Kirkman's first animated film adaptation of one of his own franchises. And if you've not been, the Invincible's in the comics right now. If you go to your local comic book store, you can find this on the indie shelf for sure under Image Comics. It's pretty good. And I highly recommend you check it out. Specifically, they do now the trade paperbacks, which is the volume collections of like 10 comics in one volume, essentially. So you get volume 1, 2, and 3. You got to go get volume 1 and 2 and just read it, because this is, let me just say it, this is one of those series that follows the comics to a T.
Yes.
Because you can do this with animation. This is where Jupiter's Legacy failed.
Did you read this before the series came out?
I did. I read this. This came out like 5-6 years ago. This has been out when Robert Kirkman started wrapping up The Walking Dead, which there's still new issues coming out of Walking Dead, but it's like side stories of what's going on in the Walking Dead universe. He started this because when he heard that The Boys, Garth Ennis and that crew was creating The Boys, he wanted to create his own version of that. And that's what he did. Exactly what he did, as a matter of fact. I got to say, guys, I was on board from episode 1, and I got to give a huge shout-out right now. I don't know if he's listening right now, but Mike, Relentless MK, if he was in here earlier, he kept telling me and pressuring me, have you seen the Invincible? Have you watched it? You need to watch episode 1, because episode 1 is going to leave you shocked. And I had no idea what was going on. And I watched episode 1, and in the last 10 minutes of the episode, I'm like, why did he just kill everybody?
Was there any doubt for any of you that Invincible would go against his dad? Because I was really up in the air there for like.
Well, I knew that there was going to be a rift of that because of the way the comics have went. but
Right.
I didn't know it was going to be that quick into season 1. I didn't know that was going to be the story arc in the final episode that would drive into season 2. With him becoming, I don't know the name of his alien race. It's some kind of crazy alien race. But I didn't know that is where it was going to go. And it did. And then we got the subway scene. And now he's pitted against his son. And the final battle between him and his boy, I was just like, oh my God, dude. This is crazy. He turned on his own flesh.
I got this screener back in February for the
Filter
first 3
Mate.
episodes. I had to sit on the first 3 episodes for almost a month and a half before I was even allowed to talk about it.
Oh,
and I'm sitting there like, people just don't know what they're in for. And at that point, I didn't even know where it was going to go. I didn't know how violent and bloody it was going to get in the final episode, but I don't think anyone was prepared. And now it's getting even more popular because of the meme. Have you guys seen the meme where he's standing over his bloody son going, think, and he's kind of squatted down. So everyone's recreated that meme into like superheroes.
Pop culture.
And Spider-Man and like Venom and all these different things. And it's caused more people to come onto the show.
From a parenting standpoint, I can relate to the think. Okay. I really, really was like on team Omni-Man in that moment. Think.
Yeah. Until he says, I can just create another son and wait 17 years. I was like, oh my God.
Well, he doesn't age like we do.
No. He's just
so,
like,
yeah. Well, isn't he like 900 years old or something like that? Or
he's very old.
Yeah, he was like 1,000 years.
So he's been around. Guys, I'm telling you, well, hopefully you're watching this. I'm going to revisit this whole thing. I think I'm going to go back and rewatch the whole thing, Invincible, all over again. It's so good. It is so good.
I think after the shock wears off of watching it the first time, I'll appreciate it the second time a little more.
Same here, because
there's serious shock value in that.
It's been a while since I've read the book. It's been a while, and so a lot of that wasn't fresh.
A little towards the end of the series, you almost become numb to the carnage because there's just so much of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel kind of dirty at the end. I was like, why do I not care anymore?
Also, if you're a Luke Cage fan, and we remember Mahershala Ali's, 2-time Oscar-winning actor, his crime boss villain in Luke Cage, they set up the character of Titan, who he voices as the new crime boss. So it looks like he's going to be a central villain for season 2. So we get Mahershala Ali back in that role, who is also our new Blade, man. This guy is everywhere right now, and he crushed it as Titan. That's one of my favorite characters. Yeah,
that's so good. Well, listen, guys. I mean, we can go on and on about Invincible, but I mean, at the end of the day, it gets PopX's stamp of approval big time. It's so accurate to the books. It's so accurate to what Robert Kirkman's original vision was, and it's so good to see another adaptation of the Kirkmanverse come in and make its debut. It's something that we can enjoy and watch. It's so cool when you can see something jump right off of the comic book pages and the panels and come to life in a way that you never imagined. And we got freaking J.K. Simmons doing the voice of Omni-Man. Holy cow, that's amazing. Yeah. So we're going to give our official review of Team PopX's review of Invincible. Austin Burke, you go first.
I'm going to set the bar really high. I'm going to go a 95 for my score. I just thought this was outstanding. It is genuinely almost perfection when you compare it to other animated shows of its kind. It is just incredible. No,
let's go.
It's Invincible. That's what it is.
Oh boy.
Roll the credits. Lindsay Badges.
I 8.7.
Very awesome.
That's a good score.
That's a good score.
Yeah.
Big Mike in Catlanta, Georgia.
I'm going to go with a 9 because I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to see what they come up next. Hopefully no zombies, but we'll just...
No zombies, please.
No zombies at all, right? I'm going to up you, Austin. I'm going to 9.6, bro.
Ooh.
I'm going 9.6. This is... I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, and I freaking loved it. And I'm glad, and that's one of the reasons why in the next couple of weeks I'm going to be revisiting the series all over again from episode 1. Yes. And it does have amazing rewatchability to it. And please, I'm so excited for episode 2. Oh my God, and 3, and oh my God, it's just gonna be so good.
I also want to say it is currently the 54th highest rated show of all time on IMDb at an 8.8. That's pretty good. Ridiculous.
Wow. And this is animated.
And it's just one season.
It's one season and it's animated.
Oh my goodness.
Good God. Robert Kirkman is rolling in the glory right now.
Yeah.
This is so good. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's the official review. We have a 9.5, an 8.7. What was Mike's? A 9 point?
A straight 9, right?
A 9?
9.
Yeah. And then I got a 9.6. Thanks, Mike. That's it, guys. Man, what a jam-packed episode. This has been crazy fun talking about Beetlejuice, Jupiter's Legacy, and Invincible. How do we do this in an hour and 10 minutes? I have no idea on God's green earth, but we do it because that's just how we roll. And,
we're just that good.
We're just that damn good. That's exactly right, Lindsay Badger. So I want to say a quick, before we close and wrap up, I want to say a huge shout out to our amazing crew hanging out in the chat room over here at PopX.live. We have a team of an amazing people here. This conversation has been going the entire night, from Hari to Mike Rolane to John Parfenbarger. It just goes on to Gilla. I mean, you guys have been rocking and rolling, and we love you guys. And we just got another one that came in, San Saha. What's up? How you doing? Welcome to PopX Cast. Yes, you get a live shout out. But with all that said, Austin Burke, will you go ahead and do the honors?
Absolutely. And if you guys are here and you're still watching, just know that we do this every few weeks. So if you want to subscribe, come back, continue to join us, and we're just diving straight into pop culture all summer. So it's going to be fantastic. But I'm at the Burkinator. You guys can search and find me on the YouTubes, Twitters, Instagrams, and not MySpace. We are part of the newly formed creative group known as the Creative Multiverse. For more great media, content, artwork, and more, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Creative Multiverse. If you guys are a creative, you produce content, or have a talent, we want to see it, and we would like for you guys to share it with us in the multiverse. So talented people unite in the multiverse.
Yes.
Unite. Yes. And PopX Cast is also on social media, if you didn't know. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and everywhere else that there's a social media account. I bet we're there. All at PopX Cast. If you're old school and you like it the email way, you can send comments and suggestions to us at popxcast@gmail.com. Also, for future and past shows, visit our official website, www.popxcast.com.
And guess what? I am Joseph Burke at Joseph Burke Arts. Literally on any kind of social media platform you can conjure and fathom in your brain. JOSEPHBURKEARTS. Find me on the web. I'm posting a lot of art and some pretty cool things. And, of course, hats off to the always amazing Team PopX. I love it when all four of us can be assembled on... Oh, that's to you too, sir. Yeah, it's Jim Stewart. Yeah, whore. All right, anyway. I don't know what we're doing. My name's Jim Stewart. Austin is reenacting the Blair Witch Project, I believe, right?
Hello!
Austin, you wait. Your moment's coming. Hold on. So we'll see you next time on episode 123 as we discuss Marvel's MODOK coming to Hulu. That's right. If you have not heard about this, this is like Robot Chicken meets some kind of crazy Adult Swim television show meets Family Guy meets, I don't know, but it's an adult comedy.
Sure
it's raw.
is.
It's unhinged. It's crazy. And I believe we may have a graphic for that as well. But it is going to be really cool. That's going to be coming up on episode 123. And then on 124, we're going to be talking about none other than Loki. Oh, I didn't mention the retro rewind. Top Gun.
Oh,
yes.
So when we talk about MODOK, we'll be talking about Top Gun. And then guess what? On episode 124, when we talk about Loki, the Karate Kid. Yes. Danielson. That's right. All right. So with all that said, guys, Austin Burke is going to do the honors here, and he's just going to roll us out. is going on? The Kazoo Boy? Are you serious? Oh my God. This we're just gonna let him go, boys. I don't know what's going on, but it's become a thing. Wow. He's feeling it. Are you feeling it, Bert? He's feeling it. All right, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're officially good. All right. You guys have a great night. We'll see you next time here on PopXcast.
Thanks for listening to PopXcast. As you're enjoying listening or viewing our shows, please consider clicking on the subscribe button to our feed and click the get notifications buttons so you don't miss out on great future content. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PopXcast, and on Instagram at PopXcast. And be sure to drop us an email anytime at popxcast@gmail.com. For more great content, check out the Creative Multiverse, where science, art, and imagination come together with artistic talents. The Creative Multiverse can be found on Facebook groups under the same name. We'll see you next time. Get your geek on.
No, we don't. No, we don't. You're still here? Go home. Go home. You guys are still here? It's over. Go home.